Okay, well, that was something. Hello, Knicks fans. It is the next morning. Okay, it's the next morning. It's Thursday the 15th. The New York Knicks just got absolutely smoked by a Sacramento Kings team that is obviously the worst team in basketball. But, guys, they got smoked by a team playing with 1 out spacing. 1 out spacing. Like it's 1977. From the very start of this, if you can call it a basketball game, then fuck it. From the very start, the Knicks did not want to participate in these 48 minutes of whatever that was. From the jump, slow, disorganized, careless, flat, probably hungover for whatever reason. Maybe they're still celebrating their NBA Cup, which didn't even count. They got smoked by one of the worst teams in basketball and a starting lineup that is 1 out spacing. 4 guys who cannot shoot to save their lives. And that lineup was what beat you last night. And it was obvious almost immediately who showed up and who was going to show up and then who didn't want to show up. One guy on this team came ready. Just one guy. A whole bunch of guys did not come ready. And then one player actively sabotaged this game like he chooses to do from time to time. And that player was the ever so abominable Karl Anthony Towns. Horrid, rotten basketball from Towns last night. There was a sequence in the first half. Towns falls down on a drive like he so often does. And we're used to him falling down on drives, not getting the call, and then choosing not to play defense. This is normal for Cat. But what we saw here was literally the most repulsive thing I might have seen since this guy's been here. There was a sequence where he falls down and literally watches 2 different 4v5 defensive stands happen while he's sitting on the ground like a little child who fell off the friggin' monkey bars. He just sat there, hands facing the ground. It was just, I usually think like when the old school Knick fan will mention heart, hustle, grit, and physicality, I'm usually one of the first few guys to be like, all right, that is so wildly overdone and people beat that to the ground. I think a lot of the time it's old man nonsense. But now that we've watched this team, this new version of this Knicks team, right? The team that you've seen for the last year and a half, I get it to a degree. I understand why people are going there. Listen, I never thought this team was great. And I have been vocal about how questionable I think it is. I've made it pretty vocal that I don't think this team can win a championship. I've said it before. I lean more towards no than yes. That part doesn't surprise me. What is different is the concern with me used to be X's and O's. There were some certain things that I did not love. Scheme, fit, lineup, style. But after watching what we saw last night, it feels a little bit deeper. Now it feels like a DNA issue. When you are getting called out by Precious Achiuwa of all players, and you let him and his group of random washed up veteran bums run you out the gym like they did after talking shit to you, that should tell you a little bit something, right? The Kings knew they could catch the Knicks on their heels, and they did. Everybody knows this by now. It is their identity. That's the problem. There's no certainty with this team. They can lose to the best. They can beat the best. They can beat the worst. They can lose to the worst. They are a wild card. Just a week or two ago, they lost to the 1 seed Pistons the same exact way. It's a wild card team in that aspect. It is not championship basketball that they play. You lose way too many games like this to ever be taken seriously. So if they want our respect as a contender, they got to start winning games consistently. They got to start playing 700 ball. You got to have championship consistency. This team is barely sniffing 600 in a weak Eastern Conference, and that feels gross. But the way they're losing these games, just deciding to not show up, it is very scary. Is it the end of the world? Is the season over? No. Of course it's not over. It's January 15th. There is still more than a half of a season of basketball left. But problems like this are usually either there from the beginning or they never show up at all, in my respective opinion. And they're certainly there with this team. This team is a feckless mess. Yeah, they're going to win games. They're going to win 50 plus. Maybe they still sneak into a top 2 seed, although the odds of that feel worse and worse every day, if we're being honest. Their net rating is barely top 10. I mean, that's crazy. But they have zero chance of winning a championship with Karl Anthony Towns playing with this kind of urgency or lack thereof. There is a reason he is the same guy that he's always been 10 years into his career. There is a reason he has never won a championship. There is a reason none of his teammates rushed to defend him when that article came out late last year after the postseason. There is a reason I was very against this trade years and years before it even became real. When the rumors were surfacing, like 3 years prior to Towns being traded to the Knicks, like this was a thing forever. I remember debating it with a buddy and saying, you do not want this guy. I don't want anything to do with this guy. And then I talked myself into it. I mean, Mike Brown, Mr. Nice Guy of all nice guys, called him out blatantly in the presser last night. Blatantly, specifically talked about him. So now I get it. Now I get it. It's really hard for me to buy in when he's clearly not bought in himself. And he's your highest paid player. And I genuinely don't understand why. Like, why does he seem to hate this system? Why does he not like it? It is literally designed to optimize everything he does well. It is night and day compared to what he had under the previous coach, which maybe that's the issue. Maybe he prefers going to the post all the time. But the previous coach didn't optimize him at all. This system is built around him. His passing, his downhill attacks, getting him the right matchups, the switches, creating three-point opportunity. It should be perfect for him. You're playing next to a top 5 scorer in basketball. You're not going to be the number one. You know that. That was never the case. But the offense is being run through you. And yet here we are. I had a feeling that comment he made preseason was going to just be a thing. And it has been. So yeah, the season's not over. No. But this stuff matters. And until that changes, it is going to be really hard to believe in any of it. Anyways, I don't even want to really get too deep into this show. It's going to be a quick episode. If I even go on for 5-10 more minutes, I'll be surprised. But you know what? We might be ranting, but I want to head to a quick break. And there are some actual basketball stuff I want to touch on real quickly. Believe it or not, it was more than just Towns. So we'll talk about that in a second. Stay with us. We'll be back in a minute.
Quick break here, guys. Stay connected with BD4 on social media. Follow us on Instagram and X at BD4Pod, and find us on Facebook by searching BD4. Don't miss out. Join the conversation. Want more BD4? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and share with your fellow fans. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. Love BD4 but don't have the time to sit down and watch? Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and keeps the conversation going.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to episode 969 of the podcast. I appreciate you all tuning into BD4. Quick episode, audio only for those who usually go watch the YouTube edit or the Spotify video edit. We just kind of ranted about this team and Cat. Listen, I don't want to get too deep into the basketball on this show. Usually we do like talking basketball. I don't want to get too deep into that, but I do want to touch on a problem that's been a recurring problem, and that's the Knicks. The same old processing problems that they've got when defenses start to cross-match them. And how do defenses cross-match them? Well, when there's not a shooter on the floor surrounded by some shooters. And the Knicks are still struggling against switching. And when you start Josh Hart, and when you play Josh Hart a bunch of minutes, it worsens that. So last night, the Kings, from the very get-go, were putting their big on Hart and Westbrook on Cat. And so because of that, the Knicks were trying to spam those pick and rolls, and Cat wasn't getting post touches, right, despite having the Westbrook mismatch. And when they went to the pick and roll, Westbrook would switch on to Brunson off of Cat. That was the point of it. And then when Jalen Brunson went down, the Knicks didn't have an advantage creation versus those fives when you brought Josh Hart into action to get the switch. Right? You spam that because you want the big in space when Hart's got him. But you don't have Brunson. This ties into the issue with the Knicks not having a secondary ball handler. You weren't able to create offense once, their guard got that switch when Josh Hart came up to screen. And again, the issue with continuing to spam those Josh Hart pick and rolls so much when he has the big, it completely takes the Knicks out of their offense. It's repetitive, it can be slow, and it completely ignores Karl Anthony Towns. He had Westbrook on him. He got no touches on the post until the second half, which he scored 0 points. But I didn't think the Knicks handled those switches well. They were switching everything, the Kings were. And the Knicks were way too slow to beat those switches. I feel like, and I always feel like this, they can be slipping the switch a lot more than they do to beat it behind. Mikal Bridges is usually great at that. If they're going to switch Westbrook on, slip underneath the screen before they could... I don't know what that was. I just made with my mouth there what that noise was. But if they're going to switch Westbrook on, slip under the screen before they complete the switch so you can get the open roll versus the high coverage there. Force the tag from the weak side. But I don't feel like they spam that enough. But again, that's with Hart on the floor and when he's cross-matched, it's hard to keep going to your offense that you want to go to. Man, this Knicks offense, it's starting to follow that trend that it followed last season, and you're getting really concerned about that. They have completely gone away from their principles early on in the year where they would touch the paint, spray out threes. Right? That was a consistent theme. Come off the ball screen, touch the paint, spray out. Right? Brown talked about that, those spray threes. I thought last night didn't see much of that. You continued to see very little of that. I thought with the way the offense was going, you could have gone to some of your motion concepts a little more. You didn't see that much. I don't know, man. It's looking really grim, and I think a big part of this offense not being as good as it was early on in the season is Mikal Bridges. Remember that great start Mikal got off to? Knicks fans loved him. Just feels underwhelming. And it's the same issue that it's been from day one with Mikal Bridges. And, Nets fans tried to warn Knicks fans. I will give them credit about the issues with Mikal. There was a lot of turmoil surrounding Mikal in the final year of his Nets career. And we're starting to see why. Like the lack of free throws, the lack of aggression at the basket is a problem. You could try to make an excuse for him and say, well, he's trying to lean into this spray philosophy, touch the paint, spray it out. But he's always been like this. I got a personal theory that it's like he's trying way too hard to protect he's trying to protect his 82 game streak every year. And he just tries to avoid contact so we can keep durable. But you know what? I would much rather Mikal Bridges miss 10 or 12 games a year, or whatever it be, if he's going to take more contact and be more effective and efficient and have a little bit of a higher ceiling. If it's going to sacrifice a little bit of games. Like, come on. 19 points last night, 6 for 20 shooting. Love that he took 20 shots from the field, but he's never getting to the foul line. He's never being aggressive at the basket. Instead, the most inefficient shot of the game, he's relying on those mid-ranges. He stops the pull for a mid-range all the time. And is he good at it? Yeah, when he's on, he's good at it. But it's not what you want. You got to lean into modern ball. Either take the three or get all the way to the basket. And he's not drawing any contact. He's afraid of contact. He's afraid of contact on both ends. That's why he's so pitiful at the point of attack. That's why he gets bumped off ball screens. But I didn't even think his defense was an issue last night. But you just look at the overall return. The return on investment regarding Bridges. It's not been worth it. Sorry. I just don't feel like it's been worth it. So yeah, maybe like the change in the head coach made a little too much out of it, because there are deeper issues here. But I don't know, man. It's a problem. This team needs to find a way out of it. They are clearly dealing with some stuff. I don't know if I have much else to add. It was just a pathetic effort last night. From the get-go, I have a bunch of stuff on my notes that I wrote down during the game. So many of them I didn't even touch on because I just don't even care. I got stuff written down like out-rebounded at 31.5 seconds in the first quarter, 3 Knicks under the basket, 1 sec. And that was a lot last night where they were just had the numbers advantage but couldn't take advantage of it. What else do I got down here? Yabusele. Giving him minutes over Kolek early. I wrote that down. Is it because of trade value? They needed his pace. They needed an organized offense. They eventually won to him top of the second. But Yabu, how many games is Yabu coming in and just not knowing what they're running? Mitchell Robinson, only one who came to play. He was outstanding on the offensive glass. I thought he was great. Shout out to Mitch. If we're going to hand out a game ball, it would be Mitch, 7 now on the year. Among the starting lineup, I guess you go to Hart. I feel like he was the least pitiful. Now has 4 game balls. Oh, by the way, Jalen Brunson's out. I think we mentioned it at the top of the show. We touched on it. Yeah, he left. He hurt his ankle, the same ankle that's been bothering him for a couple of years now. It sucks, man. You love Brunson. He is this heart of the city, but like the dude is hurt so often every year. Every year. You just hope that he's okay. You hope that he's back, hopefully within a week or so. But I have a feeling it's going to be a longer one. because the Knicks are going to take it easy with them. And we are getting into the second half, so they're going to prioritize postseason health. But a bad loss for a bad team who played an abysmal team, but that abysmal team looked a lot better than the bad team did last night. That's the embarrassing part is the Knicks, had they played a competent basketball team or a team that was half competent, to be honest, they lose this game by 40 points. Final score of this one, 112-101. Like, it's bad. It's bad. I'm not sure I can be. I don't know. It's early, not early, but it's. We got time, right? Is that what I want to take away? We got time. Is that the optimistic part? Is the optimistic part they won 8 for 41 from 3? So shot variance is going to come into play. You could take that, but I don't know. What a bullshit team right now. What a bullshit team. It's not a team I'm excited about. Thought I would be enjoying this season a lot more than I have. I will say that. It just feels way too much like last year. So can't say I'm very high on this team anymore. Can't say I can get to a point where I will be. But hey, like I say, it's a long season. So maybe I'll talk myself into delusion at some point again. Appreciate you all. I'll see you soon. Hey guys, thank you for listening to BD4. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to us on YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time.